there was a show I saw with Tovah where the performer was nude, and the whole time, dick, and of a regular penis, a penis that listen. If I'm going to reveal my penis, if I'm going to reveal my penis on stage, you know what would make me feel better? If I had another guy just a little bit smaller than me, right next to me. Truly, it made me go, oh, that's what it would take for me to reveal my penis. So
probably depending on year or time of year too, weather.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I saw this show in Paris.
Not a cold theater.
This show in Paris called Crazy Horse, I think. And all the women, it's like the Rockettes, but they're nude. And they all had the exact same tits and the exact same height and the exact every dimension of their bodies was identical. And I thought, like, well, you could never do that with men because you'd have to be backstage prepping and de-prepping and thinking about your grandma and then thinking about someone hot, Sydney Sweeney, who my sister has enacted a $100 fine, so we're already losing money in this Patreon episode. But you'd be back there and you'd be like, okay, ready to go on stage? No, 1 second. Okay, good. And then someone else goes, no, Russell. And then they've got to. And then by the end, every guy's just beating them off. They're fully erect.
Yeah.
And the show doesn't work. So
that's
the show that I want to put together. That's the show that I want to put together. I want to put together a behind the scenes show, and it's the guys trying their versus the Crazy Bull or whatever, and it's them. They cannot at any point get their dicks to be the same size so they can go on stage and start the number. And throughout the show, you hear the audience getting more mad. Where's the dicks? Where's the dicks? And then, one guy, here's what happens. One guy, he's like trying to catch up to the other guys. He accidentally comes. And then all the other guys are like, fuck. And then they all have to come. And now they all have to wait till they all, go back to.
I definitely think there's an audience for this, Gianmarco. I think a lot of people would understand that concept. And
instead of an intermission, you know what you call it? Refractory period.
Oh.
Guys, we got to take a refractory period, get a couple drinks. We'll be back.
Oh,
Crazy
bull. Oh, like that's when you you need a little time between jerking off. Coming.
Yeah, it's called the refractory period. Did you not pay attention in those classes?
Is that what you think of it in your head when you masturbate multiple times in a day?
I don't necessarily in my head go like, when's this fucking refractory period going to be over with? I still feel a lot of anxiety.
I would do it if this refractory period wasn't done yet.
Did you do I don't know what grade, maybe 4th or 5th, they separated the boys and the girls. That feels really old fashioned.
We showed us the video.
But I think we were seeing different tapes.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Marco, of course. We were seeing different tapes.
But by the way, that's insane. Hey guys, we're just going to teach the women about periods, and you'll live with the consequences for the next 50 years.
Or they won't. Not everyone will be.
But then we literally had recess right after, and it was this wild thing of like going up to the girls and being like, what did they say in yours?
Oh.
And then what did they say in yours? And you're too nervous to really say.
I just remember we were like scream laughing. Like everyone was like, yelling, like with like, couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? It was so scandalous. And
the video surely it wasn't presented funnily.
In my head,
it was like serious.
It was old. Like it was a video from the 70s too, So I in my head I imagine people like on the desks, like whooping and hollering and like going crazy, Yeah. I remember it being shocking.
I mean, my family ed class in high school was fucking nuts. It was just clearly like a woman who had gotten tenure and did not deserve to teach a single subject. So they're like, we'll have her be the family education person. Yeah. And I remember one time she said like, let's define terms. Like she clearly didn't have a lesson plan. So she walked around and was like, and we are high schoolers. So she's like, okay, what's some terms that like maybe you've heard and you don't fully understand? And this guy, I think his name was Ben, he just goes, skull fucking.
Oh my
And
God.
she goes, ooh, I haven't even heard of that one. Goes on the board, skull fucking. Okay. And eventually, she doesn't know it, and asks the class, and so another guy goes like, that's where you fuck the eye socket of a corpse or something, and it was like, and she goes, oh, oh my, okay, now we know what skull fucking is. She there's one time it was something with like, she like brought out, it was like a puppet, and not a sex puppet, like a regular puppet, and was like, someone could have a fetish with puppets. Like, what would a fetish be that would involve a puppet?
This is very progressive.
It's like, it's the bad progressive for
Yeah.
sure. Because I'm still sitting there like, what's a period? Why has my girlfriend said she's had a period for the last 5 months, and that's why we haven't had sex yet? And she's like, let's ask the puppet.
My health class was just multiple choice questions. I feel like it was like no sort of like lecturing. I swear this guy he had to have been close to retirement, and just like, but it was all like multiple choice. He was very dry. I did remember one time he made a funny joke, and no one really got it, but I thought it was funny. He was like going through the terms of everything, and someone, like, he's reading through the thing, and we're writing down the sexual terms or the body parts or whatever. And at one point he said, this kid raised his hand and was like, asked him to repeat what he just said. He goes, you said foreskin? And the teacher goes, you got it. Or maybe you don't. And no one laughed. And I was like, oh, that's
That's good.
But,
that's really good.
But also we had a student teacher, and she was really hot, and she came in, and her name was Miss Hooker, which, as a hot health teacher. And
can you imagine if they brought her in and she said, so all you guys, so something's happening to all your bodies right now.
I mean,
let's talk about it.
Also, so
that'd be so.
The only thing I remember about her is she told a story one time about when she was in school. Her name, I mean, I guess I can't say her name, but her name started with an A. And she was like, whenever they would call her to the principal's office, they would say, a hooker to the office, a hooker to the office.
Would everyone laugh, or did only you get it?
No, we laughed at that one. But that was, I remember those are only two things I remember, like, learning in health class. Do you know what I mean? Like, out of my, like, we did it in 7th grade and in 11th grade, I think. And that's truly all I remember from that time period.
I remember one time my friend O'Neill and I, we were in English class, and the teacher was, it was maybe we were reading The Invisible Man or something, but he was talking about something where the main character was shaving, and he was like saying, so I want you to think about the class. There's this man, and he's there, he's looking at his face, and he's just wiping the shaving cream off his face. He's just wiping this white cream off of his face. This was the age where we talked about bukkake in a way that was out of this world, like truly. I don't know how this became like a meme of sorts. And he goes like, so I want you to think, class. He's wiping this white cream off his face, and me and O'Neill start laughing uncontrollably.
Yeah,
uncontrollably dying. And he goes, what? It takes him so long to conceive, and when he realizes that look of like, oh my God, why would you think that? Why would you think of that there's cum all over his face? That's where your heads are at as adults, young adults.
It's surprising how often I've found having to explain the term bukkake to someone, and to see their faces when you try to explain what it is. Like, if you say it and you like use it as a joke, and they're like, what is that? And you're like, oh no. Like,
Paige, let me tell you a story. Russell wrote a sketch for Uncle Function that heavily relied on knowing what bukkake is.
Yeah.
Heavily.
I mean, it gets to the bottom of the first page, classic sketch thing. This is the reveal. And
a teacher is coming back. They've come back from the summer. They're all talking about what they did for the summer. And this teacher goes like, I got really into bukkake. And everyone's shocked. And And he just keeps going about how he loves bukkake and all sorts of mapping and like, no, I love the different kinds, and it's kind of, it gets all over you or whatever, and then it ends with somehow mustard or ketchup sprays everywhere, and he goes like, oh, what does he think bukkake means? The teacher?
I honestly can't remember. It was another B word.
He thought it was like making cold brew. Like he thought the bukkake was making your own coffee at home or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And
it was a little closer to the word than cold brew, but it was not. But I wasn't there either.
Cold brew with Russell, we can't go down that aisle. People are not happy in the comments. But here's the thing: Russell was not at the show.
No.
So we did this sketch.
I wrote it for them while I was
his.
gone.
And it is just bomb, and they keep saying bukkake, and no one knows, and they don't understand why the teachers are acting so weird about it.
Or do people pretend that they don't know what it means?
I think genuinely a lot of people don't know, and especially if it was back in those days, we probably had 20 people there, so it was like if those 20 people
were not in our favor.
If those 20 people didn't know. Then we're in real trouble.
And
half of them were
Chris's older family.
His mom and dad were like, "What is going on? What is this?" Yeah.
Oh man, it was just the fact that Russell couldn't like bear the bomb of it with
That's
us
brutal.
was so funny.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Have I ever told my presenting ass story on this podcast?
I don't think you've told it. I didn't know you could tell. It's one of my favorite stories of all time.
Oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't involve anyone that we know. But but this is for Paige, I guess, because I know I've told Gianmarco this in person.
Listen, I'll listen to it anew.
But there was one time I was living in New York, not with Nicole, and so one of my roommates had someone staying over that they were kind of friendly with, but not like good friends with. It was like this person that they knew. It was at that time in your life when you're like everything was more loosey goosey, and you're like you're living with like 17 people somehow, and like people are coming and going and blah blah. So like we ended up going out and seeing this person, like meeting up with this person that was staying at our house, and there was definitely like she was like putting out a very intense vibe that was scary to me, and I was not into it, but I was like, so she's staying in the living room on our like pull out sofa, and so we get home, I go to bed, and I had to wake up early the next morning for work, and so I wake up morning, and the way it worked in our living room is I had to cut through the living room to go to the bathroom, and it was like when you had the pull out sofa out, it was really close to the TV, so you'd like kind of like scoot by, So anyways, I come out in the morning, she's sleeping on the sofa, and I scoot by, take a shower, come out of the shower, and as I come out of the shower, she's sleeping like she was, but now fully ass out, like kind of presenting upwards.
Oh my God.
Like as if to say, I heard you're awake. How about this?
And was she still pretending to sleep?
I mean, I didn't talk. Let me say,
I could sleep in this position.
You couldn't sleep in it. It was definitely like presenting. It wasn't like she was somehow asleep. It was like,
so okay, Russell,
and also it wasn't that way like 5 minutes before. You know what I mean? Like,
are you saying, like, just to be clear, I want to like know, like we're talking like
not all the way up like that, but like okay, half in between, not spread like that. Like it was like. I what's the phrase, like prone bone, but like
you don't know refractory period, and you come up with a new phrase called prone bone. What's prone bone?
Okay, listen. So anyways,
but that's what you mean though. You
yeah,
mean
it wasn't all the way up though. It was like imagining if you had like 3 pillows underneath you, Anyways, and also when I went through, it was like. It felt like she was like kind of awake, like, and so anyways, but I'd come out and it's there, and I was like, oh my God. So I'm like hustling to get back into the room and just pretend and shut the door and like pretend I didn't see it, and
yeah, absolutely.
And then when I left after I like changed and everything, it was back to normal. So
I mean, that's like sexual assault to a certain degree, right?
No, it felt like a funny story, but like
no, because he was the victim. No, because he was the victim. So if it's a guy, it's just a fun story you tell on the podcast.
Right.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.